Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Football Show, the preview of Matchweek 29. Now, we're getting quite far into the season. Obviously, Matchweek 29 ahead of this weekend. I'm here with Rune. How are you over there in Denmark, Rune?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, Mark. Looking forward to handing out some tips.
Great, yeah, and I know that Runa's obviously third in the world as well going into this week, which is pretty amazing. Yeah, we were just talking that he wants to get into that top two, so yeah, it's a big month and a half or so ahead for Runa over there, definitely. So hopefully some good tips again this weekend. Just a reminder, guys, as well. After this show, we'll be going straight on to the live watch along of Union Saint-Gilloise against Bayer Leverkusen of the Bundesliga. So yeah, remember to tune in for that as well, guys. We'll be through with you for the next 2.5 hours or so on Over the Bar. So yeah, without further ado, Rune, I'll let you take us straight into the defenders. So I'm going to bring them up on the bottom of the screen, as you can see. So yeah, do you want to explain to us, Rune, what are your tips for the defenders this week?
Yeah, first my budget pick is Joshua Wagnerman, who is a player who has benefited a lot from the coaching change at Stuttgart. He's really thrived under Hoeneß so far. In fact, he's scored 40 points in his last 2 games, so that's quite amazing, especially considering his low price. I think he could be a great difference maker to start on Friday night with Stuttgart playing an Augsburg side with a few injuries and absentees. I think he's a pretty good shout if you're looking for a cheap differential in defense. Of course, Sosa is a good option too, as fit to play, but of course he's much more expensive. Wagnerman's price is really favorable, I think. My mid-price pick is Pavel Kaderabek, who's really in form too at the moment. He scored 41 points in his last 4 games, and Hoffenheim seem to have turned a corner and are on a 4-game unbeaten streak now. So I think they should have a good chance of continuing that streak against FC Köln at home. And then finally, João Cancelo, with Benjamin Pavard suspended. I think he should have a good chance of starting on the right side of the fence against Mainz. Should be nailed on, actually. So obviously, Cancelo, when he plays, is a player who can do really well every time. So a pretty good shout too, at least for this match day.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the thing with Cancelo is that he often doesn't start these days, does he? He's had a bit of a strange season. Like, whenever he plays, he always seems to look good, but he just doesn't seem to do it for originally, obviously, Julian Nagelsmann, and now Thomas Tuchel also isn't a massive fan of him either, is he? Which, obviously, the fact that he was kicked out by Guardiola says a lot, really. Do you think he could have an attitude problem there, Rune, potentially?
It seems so. I mean, he was already... showing the fact that he was unsatisfied with his playing time under Nagelsmann shortly after joining Bayern. So it seems like it. But at least under Tuchel, I mean, he started against Man City on the left side instead of Davies. So I guess that's an indication that Tuchel maybe favored him over Davies at the moment. In any case, Pavard is suspended this weekend. So I think we can be pretty sure about Cancelo starting this week.
Yeah, definitely. But obviously a hard game at Mainz in a massive title battle there, obviously, for FC Bayern. So yeah, remember to get your questions in, guys, as well. We'll answer any questions live on the stream tonight. But without further ado, obviously, because we've not got as much time today, we're going to go swiftly on to the midfielders. Oh, actually, just before a question from Maddie Musin there. Hi, is it okay to go without Davies for this week, do you think? What do you think, Rune?
Yeah, I think so. Doubling up could work well, but having one of them at least, I think, is fine. Davies hasn't been in that amazing form lately. So depending on who you have instead, I think that could work out.
Yeah, thanks for your question, Maddie. Okay, so yeah, let's move straight on to the midfielders then now. So yeah, as you can see on the bottom of your screen, Rune, do you want to take us through them?
Yeah, some pretty expensive picks in midfield this week. Führig is, somewhat of a maybe what I will usually call a mid-price pick, but anyway, I think he's quite cheap when you look at his potential this week. He's playing out of position as a striker for Stuttgart, who seem to have turned the fortunes around with Hoeneß. And Führig hasn't actually been that good fantasy-wise, but I still think he could be worth a shot for the Friday night game against Augsburg. As I said, they will be without some of the key players, so he could do well there. And then I have Christoph Baumgartner as my mid-price pick. He's also playing out of position as a striker, and I think he's a pretty intriguing option in midfield with Hoffenheim playing Köln. And finally, Joshua Kimmich. I just wanted to mention him this week because he's now Bayern's new penalty taker. He took the penalty against City, and afterwards he confirmed that he will be the penalty taker going forward. So I think he has done well enough in his last 2 games, 9 and 8 points, and he's likely to play every minute for the best team in the league. And he's now also on penalties, meaning he will take a lot of Bayern set pieces. So maybe he's worth taking a look at again under Tuchel.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And obviously 211 points is a pretty decent haul as well so far this season. Obviously trying to beat he's probably on course to just about beat his record from last season of 256 points. But yeah, obviously a lot of huge games upcoming for FC Bayern over the next month or so. So yeah, again, remember, any questions on the midfielders, you're more than welcome to ask. We will be able to answer up until the end of the show. But again, because we are in a limited time, I'm going to ask Rune to take us through the strikers as well now. So yeah, what do you think about the forwards this week?
Yeah, budget pick this week is Choupo-Moting. I think Bayern have really struggled to score goals without him while he's been out. They've been looking for a focal point up front. And even if he didn't do that well against City, I'm pretty sure he'll start up front against Mainz due to the lack of competition at the number 9 position. So at that price, I think he's really attractive. And my mid-price pick is Daniel Mahlen, who is really in form for Dortmund at the moment. He scored 50 points in his last 4 games, so he's tied with Guerrero for the most points in the last 4 games. And I think with Brandt and Bellingham kind of struggling to find the form they showed earlier in the season, and Royce being benched, Haller not finding the net consistently enough, I think he's probably Dortmund's best attacking asset right now. And then finally, Marcus Thuram is my premium pick. He's looked really good lately, I think. After a difficult period, he's found his scoring touch again, and he offers great flexibility. He's playing the last game of the match day at home against Union Berlin, and afterwards he has some pretty good games coming up against Stuttgart and Bochum. So a really good option for the next 3 match days.
Yeah, definitely. As you can see, I've already got him in my team as well, so I'm looking forward to a good point haul there from him this weekend. Yeah, it's I definitely think the Augsburg-Stuttgart game is interesting this week, and it obviously would be in the Friday night game. And I don't know, something tells me this is going to be a huge game the way the season goes, really, for both of these clubs. You know, like the winner is going to be in a good position, but the loser not so much. Yeah. Yeah, so I guess in my opinion, I would be I think I'll be sticking a few players in from that match for this game. As you can see, I've got Demirovic in my team, but is he expected to start this week, Rune, or is he still out? Do you think?
I think so. He's expected to come back after suspension, and Berisha is out, so he looks pretty set to start. But Gaulev will miss out in defense in addition to Berisha, and Gikiewicz set to miss out too. So 3 pretty important players there, and that's why I'm kind of backing Stuttgart in combination with Stuttgart's good form. I think they look like the team to back there. Yeah.
And what about Füllkrug? Obviously, you can see I've got him in my team as well. Is he likely? Because he missed the game against Freiburg, which completely stumped me, really, because it was unexpected, wasn't it? But
I mean, Werder coach Ole Werner really indicated that he would be fit to start, but then apparently he wasn't, and that was a pretty tough blow for me as well because I kept him too. But he should be ready to start this week. I think it looks like it, but better keep an eye out for what Werner has to say and what's being written tomorrow in the media.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, a kind of winnable game for them as well this weekend. But Jeff also got in. Bayern strikers haven't produced a goal since match day 26, which is obviously 2 match days ago now. Any reason to think they'll break out at Mainz? not the most attractive matchup. It's obviously a hard game away at Mainz. What do you think?
Yeah, it is actually. But the reason I think is that, as I said before, I think they really missed Choupo-Moting up front. They've started Gnabry at the number 9 position, and he's been so wasteful. I mean, actually in the Bundesliga, it's not been, also against City, actually, they've been creating the chances. They've just been wasteful. They've missed a lot of clear-cut chances and good opportunities. And last week against Hoffenheim, the chances that Gnabry missed in the second half, I mean, they should have won that game. And also against City in the Champions League last night, Sané missed a pretty good chance when the scoreline was still 0-0. So the problem is, I think that they're lacking the ruthlessness in front of goal at the moment, and I think Choupo-Moting has shown early in the season that he is a guy who can score those chances when he gets them in the box. And it wasn't his best game against Man City, but playing Mainz, even though they've been in good form, is a different kind of matchup. And I think Bayern will be out to really prove themselves this week. I know we said the same last week against Hoffenheim, and they didn't deliver, but anyway, we know Bayern, we know the pressure they're under and how they usually thrive under that kind of pressure. So I think they'll be out to send a message to everyone after a few disappointing results. So, I mean, that's why I think having Choupo back could benefit them, and also the fact that they're known as a team who can really, thrive when the pressure is on them.
Yeah, definitely. And another question about Bayern as well from Jeff. Rotation concerns for Sané or Coman. What do you think about that?
I'm not that worried about rotation for Bayern now that they're out of the Champions League and they're out of the DFB Pokal. I also think that Gnabry has been playing under his usual standards lately, so pretty sure they will start with Müller is probably likely to come into the starting 11, but that will probably be at the expense of either Musiala or Goretzka. Pretty sure Sané and Coman will start because they were some of Bayern's most threatening players against City, and Bayern need the points now, and they also have fewer games going forward now that they only have to worry about the Bundesliga. So wouldn't worry too much about that.
Yeah, that's definitely a big point. And obviously they need to win the Bundesliga to avoid that infamous trophyless season as well, which is what obviously no Bayern fan wants. Yeah, another question in from Madi as well. Thoughts on Guerrero? Is it time to sell him?
Yeah, maybe. I'm not really sure what to do with him, actually. I also saw we got a question on Twitter about him because he's not predicted to start by all sources at the moment. I think that he had a really poor game against Stuttgart last week, like most of the Dortmund defense, and they kind of need some defensive stability now, especially with Schlotterbeck probably likely to miss out again. And I mean the defensive struggles they showed against Stuttgart, I think Terzic might want to prioritize giving some more defensive stability, and that's why I could see Wolf start on the right and Rice and start on the left in principle, but I'm not sure. I mean, we could also see Guerrero start again because he's proven so many times how good he can be, especially going forward, and how decisive he can be with his great left foot. But clearly last week was not good, and he's not playing in central midfield at the moment anymore with Julian Brandt back. That experiment is over. So if Terzic decides that defensive stability is more important to him than having Guerrero going forward on the left, then I could see him be benched. So I think it's a tough one. Maybe it's worth keeping him another match day just to see if he starts again and how he does. But I have to say I'm not feeling 100% about him starting this week.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for your question, Maddie. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. If you do have any other questions, then just get them in right now. But yeah, other than that, I think we will finish for the night. So yeah, it's if you're interested in watching more of what we have here, then remember to check out @OverTheBarFB and @OverTheBarExtra on our Twitter feed. Also, check out otbfootball.net, which is our centerpiece, obviously, where we put most of our articles and written stuff as well. Also, remember to check out Bully News as well, which is really, really important. Obviously, Rune, the chief editor of Bully News as well. And also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel to keep us growing. We're trying to get to 1,000 before the end of the season. That's the goal, and we're hoping that we will be able to just about get there by the end of May. But yeah, thanks a lot again, guys, for joining us.
Say one thing, Mark. I just want to say that I noticed the questions on Twitter, but we're moving on quickly now because Mark is going to do a live watch along shortly after the show. But I just wanted to say that I did take a look at the questions and I'll respond to them all on Twitter tomorrow. So just so you know, guys.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, obviously we did have to do a little bit of a shorter show today, obviously, because we got the live game going ahead in just about 7 or 8 minutes. So yeah, thanks a lot, guys, for joining. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.